This conference will now be recorded.
Oh guys, so let me. So in our last class, whatever discussion we had, that was like just a basic of virtualization, why it's there into picture, what are the Citrix products, what we are going to deal with. There's a one more product which I didn't introduce, but that is more important. That is about Citrix provisioning services. So today I will introduce that product, that why it's required and why that particular product is so popular compared to anything else. Okay, so let's see here. So today we'll start from the concept of XenDesktop, how it works, and what is the technology behind this XenDesktop, all those stuff. Okay. So we will start reading this part just by taking one scenario, guys, or one example throughout. So example is, let's say you started a small company. Okay, you started a small company. In your companies, you have 200 employees. Okay, and right now the requirement from those 200 employee is 200 VMs with Windows 7 or Windows 8 or 10 as a desktop, and inside that desktop they are looking for two applications as of now, Chrome and your VLC media player. That's it. Okay. Now just imagine that if they don't have the concept of XenDesktop or any another virtualization technique, then what they are going to do? They will purchase 500. They will purchase 200 physical systems, right? And if we are going to purchase 200 physical systems specifically for office purpose, then obviously cost per system will get high, because for office purpose we can't purchase a system like how can we arrange for our personal purpose. Okay, so obviously the cost per desktop would get high. So if you will multiply by 200, I'm just taking in one scenario. If it is like a 50K INR also, okay, for office purpose, then for 200 system, this is something which is getting a huge amount. Okay, so first factor is cost. Second factor is management. Okay, how at least to manage 200 physical systems, you required at least 2 to 3 administrators. Okay, forget about Citrix right now. I'm just giving you the scenario. Then automatically you will understand. So at least 2 to 3 administrators are required per administrator. If he is going to assemble one system, at least it required 2 to 3 hours for office purpose, because there are plenty amount of patches also which we have to install in all the systems. Okay, and we don't have any virtualization technique. Just imagine. So in this case, at least 2 to 3 weeks are required to do all the configuration in your all the physical desktops. Okay, so time is a big concern. Now another concern is, right now let's say he did all these installation fine. Just after 1 week, people came back and saying, hey, we don't want Windows 7, now we are looking for Windows 8 in all the 200 machines. Then we have to do all the system to be upgraded on the Windows 8. It means I required again downtime. Obviously, then only I can do, because I don't have any another bare 200 physical systems where again I have to assemble all those things and I can provide to them in advance. So I required a downtime, and again I required next 2 to 3 weeks to do all this stuff. It means we have a major concern here in physical environment, that is cost, time, and the major problem is management. Whenever new assembling or whenever a new upgradation or you know all the patches or application need to be updated, there's a big challenge in that part, because their administrator need to go in each and every system and need to do physically over there. There's no a central operation thing kind of stuff happening. So that's why now, if just imagine that if we have here XenDesktop, then where the cost will get reduced. First of all, as I told you, product are free of cost. You can download, but charges comes appeared for your license. So license for 200 people, okay, license for 200 people will not cost you this much. Means 50K multiplied by 200. So will not cost you this much, which is going to be 1 CR, okay, or 100,000. But in this case, the license price for 200 people will not cost that much. So obviously the charges will be less. Second part, time. As per the company standard in virtualization field, there need to be one administrator over 180 servers, if you guys are aware. Okay. Earlier this count was less, but now this count got increased. The reason behind of more and more virtualization techniques are coming, so things are getting easier. Okay, so over 180 server, one administrator is more than enough. How many administrators we are taking here? 2 to 3. Now when we are coming to the configuration and all, how much time it required to configure for 200 people? Maximum, I'm telling you, 4 to 5 hours, not more than that. That's it. Whenever new upgradation is coming, no downtime is required, nothing. Okay, how we do all these things, that's a different strategy. Okay, but overview is that no downtime is required. Even we have to upgrade 200 system, 500 system, or even in thousands also, we don't require any downtime. Management, quite easy. Tomorrow if somebody is saying, hey, I want window 8 or I want this application as well, administrator no need to go on desk by desk. He can sit at the central location. From there he can push all the updates to all the people. So it's quite easy. Okay, that's why virtualization came, desktop virtualization came into the picture. Now in this desktop virtualization, how all these things works, that is something which depend on master slave system. In XenDesktop, all these things works on master slave system. Okay, so as I'm saying that I required 200 VMs. If XenDesktop was not there, these was known as a 200 physical desktops, but right now we have XenDesktop, that's why we are saying 200 VMs virtual machines. So what we will do, we will set up a master image first. Okay, we will set up a master image first. In Citrix, company to company, there are so many terminology, guys. I will make you aware all of them, okay, so that you can remember, because in different companies they use different words. Here I am saying master image. Few people say it as a golden image. There's another word also, master virtual machine also. Somebody saying master ISO, but master ISO is totally wrong. Master image, golden image, master virtual machine, that is absolutely fine. Why we say master image, guys? Why master word is added over there? Because another 200 virtual machines are going to copy from here itself. Okay, how this thing works, this is similar. Suppose there is a document which you have to provide to 200 people. So what will you do to provide this document? You will go to the Xerox machine and you will take exact 200 copies out of there, right? And then you will provide to people, correct? 1 to 200. So what will happen? Whatever stuff you have in this original copy, same stuff will get copied over all the 200 VMs. Is that correct? Right? So, or whatever content you have in this original document, that will get copied to all the 200 Xerox copies as well. So in that case, in future, if you require any change need to be done, you will not go to the single copy and you will do the changes. No, Again, you will come here in your original document and you do all the changes, whatever you do have, and then provide a send new copy to everybody. That's how Xerox work happens, right? Similar case here as well. So what we will do, we will create one master virtual machine on our hypervisor. Whatever the requirements are there, we will do over here. So what was the requirement? Windows 7 we have to install. Once that is done, IPA, all those part is done, then you have to install over here your Google Chrome, and then you have to install over here VLC media player. Once installation is done, once your game is over, then this master image you will use to create further 200 virtual machines. So whatever content you do have in this master image, same content will get copied to all the 200 virtual machines. Now, how this copy works is happening, all those things we'll discuss slowly, slowly. But this is how this master slave system works, guys. Any doubts so far? Anybody? Noor,
Okay,
or
as of
Ibrahim?
now, it's okay.
Sorry?
As of now,
Okay,
no, no doubt it's okay.
okay, fine. So now in this case, this is how it works, right? Now in this case, in this master image, we have to introduce one software that is known as a Citrix VDA, Virtual Delivery Agent. Few people say Virtual Desktop Agent also. Version to version naming sometimes got changed, not every time. Okay, but it is a Citrix Virtual Delivery Agent. This particular agent we have to install in our master image so that it can allow this master image to be communicable with the XenDesktop server at the back. Okay, so if Citrix VDA we are not going to install in our master image, then our master image will not come to know where is the XenDesktop server. And if that communication is not going to be happen, then XenDesktop server will not allow to create multiple virtual machines. That's why we require a Citrix VDA. So this particular VDA we install in our master image, and then only we start communicating with our XenDesktop server. Okay. Now, how all these things are integrated together? What is the first step when we require, whenever we have to set up a lab and all those things? Let's see over here. So first of all, we required, one hypervisor. Just imagine this is your hypervisor. In my case, I'm taking Zen server because it's very easy to install and I'm using since long back. As I told, this Zen server nowadays is known as a Citrix hypervisor. Name got changed. Okay. So here, first of all, you required one Active Directory, which you can say as a domain server also. Choice is yours: Active Directory server, domain server, or a domain controller. All are the same name. Can be physical or virtual also. First of all, let me draw over here what are the prerequisites we required for any kind of or any version of XenDesktop or XenApp or PVS. So one Active Directory server is required, another one DB server is required, another one license server we required, then StoreFront server we required, and then we required a XenDesktop server here. XenDesktop server, guys, also have nicknames. XenDesktop you say, or DDC you can say. DDC means Desktop Delivery Controller, or people say a simple controller as well. Okay, so don't be confused, all are just the nicknames. And we required a master image also over here, and there's a one more. Then after the master image, whatever the virtual machines you are creating, that will be available. Okay, this
Okay,
is how it
great.
works.
So typical,
Mhm.
like, I mean, I don't know, this is from a long time ago, but
Mhm.
isn't there typically like a second master, like, or a dev image so that like you do any updates on that and that feeds
Exactly,
the master image and then
same
the
same
master.
thing, same thing. Yes, you can say like a dev image also, whatever the name. Yes. So whatever update we required, we have to do in the dev image. You can say like that. Correct.
So like you, like for example, you put like a, so the master image, is
Mhm.
that like a separate server, or in the dev in
Yes,
it could be a separate server, or they
I'm
can
coming to
be.
that point. I'm
Oh,
coming to that. So now, first of all, you need to understand that these are the, you can say, your pillars of your infrastructure. Okay, whatever the version of your XenDesktop previous is, we required all these infra servers. These are known as the infra servers. Now, in these infra servers, first of all, you need to understand what can be physical or virtual. Okay, because this is a bigger question people are always having in their mind, because in production environment, when it comes to the load, accordingly architect divide all these structure. So active directory server can be physical or virtual, db server can be physical or virtual, license server not required to be physical, storefront server not required to be physical, XenDesktop server again physical can be virtual, master image there is no chance of physical, and remaining obviously it's a virtual machine. Why active directory and database server are physical? The reason behind, active directory and db server are not specific just only for Citrix environment, guys, because same active directory server is being used for another purpose also. Okay, in an infrastructure, if I'm saying that okay, there's a infrastructure of FedEx or there's an infrastructure of TNT. Okay, so in FedEx they are not only using Citrix, they have a very big environment. They are using different technology for different departments, but active directory server can be same. That's why to handle that kind of load, because active directory and database server are the backbones of an infrastructure, so to handle that particular load, generally they maintain them as a physical server. In this FedEx earlier,
so do they need a, like, I mean, if the corporation has their existing Active Directory before Citrix, and then now
mhm,
they get Citrix, do they need to set up like another Active Directory, or can they use their
it
existing?
yeah, that's something. All these things totally depend what kind of domain they are going to fix. Suppose for Citrix environment, if they are going to set up a new domain for their user, okay, just imagine, let's say right now the domain which they are providing for their another environment, that is fedex.co.uk. Okay, just imagine. Now for Citrix environment, the domain which they want to provide, that is fedex.co.us. Means they want to cooperate all the Citrix work from the US itself. Okay, so they have this kind of requirement. In that case, obviously they can set up a new domain. There is no problem in that. So in Active Directory also there are plenty amount of stuff altogether. So what they will do a trust relationship between this existing domain and the new domain altogether. So it all these things totally depend how they would like to set up their environment. It's their call. They would like to go for a new domain, they would like to add into the existing domain, they can do. But if you ask me from Citrix end, No, we don't have any such kind of specific prerequisites. Okay, clear?
Yep.
Okay.
And again, the other piece is like, so obviously you know, like you can have with virtualize, so
Mhm.
you can also combine in the same server, right? Or is it better, like, because
Uh,
especially with the virtual, like, to keep
yeah,
them like in a
I'm
separate
coming.
server?
Yes, I'm coming to that point. So the thing is, guys, uh, if you ask me right now in the lab, I will combine. Okay, let me tell you what are the things we have combined. I have Active Directory, one machine. I have DB, license server, storefront, XenDesktop all together into another machine, and master image is a third machine. This is how I designed my lab, and this is how you guys also, whenever you will do your lab, this is how you are supposed to do. Why? The reason behind, we are working in a lab environment. We don't have that much of resources where you can assign, because this is the latest environment. Every machine at least required 4 GB RAM at least. So if you are giving more than that, obviously performance would be better. So that much of resources would not be available to us. But when it comes to the production, guys, each and every component is established on a separate server. The reason behind of load. Okay. In production environment, each and every server is having their load. If you ask me about the license server also, generally people keep at least 2 license server for load balancing purpose. Similarly, storefront, they will keep minimum 2 storefront server. Okay. Similarly, for database also, they keep at least 2 to 3 database servers for load balancing purpose. So that if one goes down, another one can handle. Because every server obviously is having a limit. It can't handle, lakhs of the request at the same time. So all these things, that how many servers I'm looking for, it depends how many users you have, how many requests are there which will come simultaneously. So all those, based on the decision of that, you have to design your environment. But if you like, there is no harm to set up all these 4 component into one machine in lab environment. But in production, no, because suppose if there's an issue coming up from the license server, what will happen? You have license server, DB, storefront, XenDesktop in the same machine. Issue is coming simple from the license server. Due to, just imagine, due to the licensing service, CPU percentage is going to be 100, due to which server got hung. What will happen then? The complete production environment is down. Otherwise, if license server is on a separate component, then what will happen? Only license server will get down, and whatever the respective impact should be happened, only that will go. That's it. But in this scenario, complete server is down where another 4 components are also there, and without any reason they will also get down. So that's why we don't do that kind of setup into the production. Clear stuff, this guys?
Yes, I have one question for the DP
Mhm.
server. We need to only for the Citrix perspective. We'll use it for only for Citrix for the storing
uh,
the data.
I would say yes.
DP.
Okay. Yeah, because there are plenty amount of request and response going and through with the database when it comes to the XenDesktop or PBS, so whatever it is. Because whenever any user is going to log in, whatever he is going to request, every static information is coming from the database only. So that's why at least 2 server we maintain, and mirroring need to be enabled between them, so that if something goes happen with one, another one can provide you the information. Clear?
Yeah, no, yes, but in preference, like, I
Uh-huh.
mean, you know, with the, say, like in a production area,
Hmm.
because of uh, disaster recovery and things like that, they
Correct.
typically try to have a second one, right? But
Hmm.
so sometimes they're like, oh, okay, this in that scenario, for example, like you have XD as a P/V, but they're like, oh, okay, instead of virtual, can we put that in, you know, in the one of the other P? and save some, I mean, you're getting a P instead of a V, but you're combining that. Does that work out? Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah, yes. Yeah, that is also there. That's what I'm saying. Like I saw so many projects where people have mixed environment as well, like you said. So suppose people are setting up 4 desktop servers. So that also happened that in 4 desktop server, they have 2 are physical and 2 are virtual also. So there's no harm in that. They do also.
so I guess in that kind of scenario, like, I mean, is
Hmm.
there a typical, like, for example, you have the AD separate and the
Hmm.
MI separate,
Hmm.
like,
Hmm.
so if somebody is not getting 6 altogether, if they're getting 4 or
Hmm.
5, is there like, okay, what are these two are the best to combine, and then if you need, you
No,
can combine these two?
no. No,
Uh,
nothing. There's nothing to combine. When it comes to the production, there's nothing to combine because every server, as I told, every server is having load in production. So there's nothing to combine. Sometimes, if you ask me, sometimes people combine license server and storefront. Okay, but
right.
that is not the best practice at all. If because yeah, storefront is also having a load, and even license server is also having a load. When training will go like in the middle of the training, I will show you the impact where it comes whenever like DB is having a high load, or storefront is having a high load, or license server is having a high load. Every component server, wherever the load is high, direct or indirectly impacts Xendesktop server because we all are connected together. So
Right.
we'll show you all those parts. But yeah, best practice is keep single component in a single server because we also maintain the load balancing. We also maintain the high availability. That's
But in terms of it, if it was a test environment, you're saying that,
Mhm.
like, so it can, yeah, you should at least try to keep it for a test for 3, like, even not for our lab, so like a
Mhm.
corporation
Mhm.
test environment, also keep it at
Yeah,
3
yeah,
as
yeah.
as
In
as a minimum.
corporation, yes, in corporation environment, wherever you can say like a POC kind of setup, yeah, there they maintain like the same. DB generally they keep a separate because every project is having their own database server, so that's why no need to establish again. But yeah, license server, storefront, and Xendesktop they maintain in one machine for POC purpose. No harm. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So here these are the stuff which we have to set up, and as I told you, Active Directory, database server, all these things are the backbones. Generally people keep physical, as well as they can maintain the hybrid environment also. Few are physical servers, few are virtual servers, but master image only need to be virtual. Okay, it can't be physical at all because it's a master image. We have to virtualize virtual machines out of this. So this is something which is had to be virtual only. Okay, so this is how you are supposed to set up over here. Now the first server, obviously you have Active Directory database server, that is fine, but the first server from the Citrix perspective which you have to set up is your Zen desktop server or DDC or controller. Remember all these things because these are the synonyms. So here, this is your Zen desktop server you are going to set up. The version which we are going to discuss, that is the latest one, which is 7.19. Okay. So obviously the benefit of taking a new version is whatever we had in the previous versions plus add-on. So all the components, whatever we had in earlier versions, plus whatever the new changes or new updates or new topics are coming, everything will be there. So that's why. So based on the prerequisite, whatever the prerequisites are there, we have to install operating system over here. So we are keeping, let's say, Windows 2012 R2 here, or 2016 you require. Okay, once that is installed, you have to provide static IP here, guys. Remember, all the infra server components will always have a static IP. Okay, if you ask me, here static, DB server static, license server static, storefront static, XenDesktop static. Only master image will get dynamic IP. Okay, the reason you will come to know here. So you have to provide a static IP here. Once you are done with the static IP and Windows, everything you've done, after that you have to join in domain. Okay, once you join into the domain, after that you have to install over here XenDesktop component, XenDesktop server component. One thing you need to remember, guys, the moment you joined a machine into the domain, after that you are supposed to log in with domain admin account only. To install any stuff of Citrix, either you should have a domain admin credential or you should be a part of domain admin group. Okay, whatever right now I'm telling you guys, this is the key part of Citrix. Okay, so just remember always, otherwise you will end up in a situation where troubleshooting will not help you guys. You have to demolish your server and need to set up a new one only. That's the only solution. The reason behind is quite simple. As I told earlier, the moment when you install Citrix in Windows Server, it modifies, a plenty amount of coding structure of Windows, because it's making from physical to virtual. It's taking that Windows operating system to another level itself. So we required plenty amount of permission for that. Okay, that's why it's a recommended part. Either log in with domain admin credential to install Citrix component, or you should be a part of domain admin group to avoid such kind of circumstances. Okay, so here once you log in with the domain admin or you are a part of domain admin group, you will install over here XenDesktop. Okay, and the moment you install XenDesktop, there are few components which will get installed from the XenDesktop subsidiary. First one, controller, as I told, which is a XenDesktop component. Second one, studio. Third one, Citrix director. Fourth one, because we are going to install license server over here, we are going to install storefront also over here, and we are going to install database also. This database you need not to download or somewhere from outside world, because Citrix support MS SQL, guys. MS SQL, sorry, MS SQL only. Okay, we don't support Oracle or MongoDB or any kind of another database which generally people are using for web world or something. Okay, we support MS SQL. For Oracle, people have to contact to the Citrix team. They have a separate plugin for that, and then development team will help you how to set up with the Oracle database. That is extra chargeable.
So can you get away with just MS SQL Express, or do you need like a enterprise and like?
Yeah, I'm coming to that point. So the thing is, there is no specific stuff like, okay, only MS SQL Express or enterprise or something, because inside this XenDesktop ISO itself you will get here MS SQL Express edition only, this database.
Okay.
Okay, so
So you're not
for lab purpose Express is fine, but when it comes to the production environment, we don't use Express, because like obviously we have less features. Okay, we don't have console to manage to our database, because anyhow database will not be managed by the Citrix team. Okay, it will be managed by the database team only. That's why they don't keep Express edition into the production. They maintain with the enterprise edition only. Okay,
Oh,
so
so
there are.
even
Mhm.
the Citrix database is typically
Mhm.
managed separately, like, and not really part of the by the Citrix admins.
Yeah, it's not by Citrix Admin, exactly, not at all.
Mm.
I will later on I will guide you here what are the stuff will be managed by the Citrix Admin. Okay, so Citrix is a kind of stuff, guys, where we are working on upper layer. So we have to understand this part very closely. We are working on a upper layer. When I'm saying upper layer means application layer we are working. So before sorry, down to this upper layer we have a base layer, like Windows comes into the picture, Active Directory comes into the picture, database server comes into the picture, hypervisors are there. So there are so many base layers, and for every base layer in an infrastructure, there is a separate team altogether. Okay, Active Directory, separate team. You will not manage Active Directory anyhow. Database, separate team. Hypervisor, totally a separate team. Okay, because on a Citrix, slowly you will come to know whenever any issue comes, our first responsibility is to isolate that what is the root cause, or you can say whatever the origin of this particular error. Then only you are allowed or you are supposed to do the troubleshooting. Blind troubleshooting in Citrix is very harmful, guys. So all those things you will see further slowly. Okay, so here you are going to set up all these things into the XenDesktop. The moment when you will insert XenDesktop or XenApp ISO, because it's the same one ISO only, so you will see all this stuff over the controller, studio, director, license server, storefront, and database express edition will get installed by default. Okay. Once this is done, guys, it takes long time, almost half an hour, sometimes 40 minutes as well, because it totally depends on prerequisites, whatever is required, like .NET version, C++ redistribution, C++ runtime. There are so many prerequisites. So you need not to worry, because the moment we install XenDesktop, all those prerequisites will get installed automatically, because everything Citrix is providing in their ISO. But yeah, your server will get rebooted several times. Okay, and once that is done, then first time you will open a console, that is Citrix Studio, guys. Okay, this Citrix Studio is a console to manage your XenDesktop infrastructure. This is the only and only console, guys. There you will create virtual machine, you will assign virtual machine to the user, you will create policies. There, like that, there are plenty amount of stuff you will do, but everything will be done inside the studio console. Okay, so right now I'm taking you through a just a outer flow chart, where you will come to know that okay, these are the stuff we have to discuss in detail, or these are the stuff where we are going to set up the lab in similar way as well. So first of all, on the hypervisor, we are going to set up all these components. Then in this component, XenDesktop is the first one which will come from the Citrix perspective. Then in the XenDesktop, these are the steps you have to follow. And the moment first time when you will open the studio, you have to do 3 connections, guys. First one is host connection. Host connection you can say, or hypervisor connection you can say. Second one is DB connection, and third one is license server connection. When I'm saying connection means, host means hypervisor connection. So you have to tell to the studio that boss, this is my hypervisor, this is my database, this is my license server. So you have to provide the IP address of them over here inside the studio, so that the studio can tell to the XenDesktop that okay, these are the your infra servers you have to communicate, because we have to connect it together every time. We can't be disconnected. Okay, so this complete setup When you open Studio first time and you make all these connections, host connection, DB connection, license connection, this complete setup is known as site. When I'm saying site, guys, don't be confused with the website, okay? It is just a terminology called as a site. Site means our XenDesktop server right now is ready to create further virtual machines because we are connected with our infra servers at the back. Okay, so this is known as a site only. First time this host connection, as I told, what is this? This is a hypervisor. So obviously just imagine this is your hypervisor over here and hypervisor is 1.1.1. This is the IP address. So the moment when you will make a host connection, you will pass this IP address over here, and that's how your studio will come to know, okay, this is my hypervisor. You can connect multiple hypervisors to the studio. Okay, it totally depends how your architect design your environment. So you can connect multiple hypervisors also. There is no harm in that. Now with this hypervisor, guys, if you remember my previous class, I explained you very well about the hypervisor resource sharing concept. So this hypervisor, just imagine having a storage, having a network card. So multiple storage can also be connected. Okay, storage team, again, it's a totally a different team altogether, because in storage we have plenty amount of technology nowadays, guys. Okay, the storage is not that storage which is like locally local hard disk inside the laptop. That is not the only storage. For storage we have plenty amount of technology nowadays. Different companies are providing different storage. So who will decide what kind of storage we have to choose? Storage backup and everything, storage team. So there's a separate team for storage who maintain all those stuff. So let's say you have here storage 1, storage 2, and you have over here network card 1 and network card 2 on your hypervisor. Okay, now inside your host connection, guys, the moment when you will make a host connection, it means you are connected with your hypervisor. That is fine. But now you have to provide the information about storage as well as network card, because end of the day, whatever virtual machine you are going to create over the XenDesktop, where those virtual machines will go, guys? On the hypervisor. Inside the database only entry will be there, right? But exactly like if you ask me where those virtual machines will be located, on the hypervisor. Virtual machines required resources, storage, network, RAM, every stuff. From where those resources are coming? From the hypervisor. Now, how hypervisor is managing them, that's a different story. That's the hypervisor team is handling. From where they are getting storage, what kind of network they have, that's a different story. But from XenDesktop perspective, end of the day, we are getting everything from the hypervisor. So that's why we have to decide which storage you would like to choose and which network card you would like to choose. I will give you an example also, guys, here, where you have to decide, like right now I have two storage, two network card. So for your virtual machine, which storage and which network card you are going to use, that is something which you have to decide. But for that, you should be, in a situation where you understand Citrix in and out. So I will show you here. So this combination, guys, is known as resources. The moment we make a host connection inside the studio, after that we have to make a resources as well. Means we are going to inform to our studio or to our XenDesktop that, boss, this is my storage and this is my network where your virtual machines are going to be reside. Is this part clear, guys, so far? Because all these are the conceptual parts and you have to be clear. There should not be any doubt here. That's what. Anybody? Noor, Bhakt, Ibrahim, any doubt?
Good.
So far, so clear?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
clear only. But still, something is there. We have to go through once again. The virtualization, so we are creating, you are telling host connection, DP, or this one. This one not a server, it's a concept only.
It's not a server. Inside whatever right now I'm showing
Okay.
you, all these
Okay.
things we are doing inside the XenDesktop. Because inside the XenDesktop server, we open the studio, which is a console, and inside the studio, we have to perform this task.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
This
Because
is the
DB
out.
connection, DB connections means what? We have a DB
Mm,
server, as I told,
mm,
but how my XenDesktop will come to know where is my DB server? So I have to provide the information of DB server, right? My database server
mhm.
name or IP address, all these things I have to provide. So that is known as a connection. Simple.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, okay.
Okay. Great. Now, so as I told you that we have to decide which storage and which network, guys. I'm giving you a small scenario. Just try to focus on that and let me know how it works. Uh, I have an environment where I have a people from Australia and I have a people from India. Okay. My XenDesktop setup is in Australia. This is my XenDesktop setup, and this is done in Australia. In Australia data center, we've been to this. Now, in this XenDesktop setup, as I told you, because XenDesktop setup is here, it means it is set up on the hypervisor. So on the hypervisor, as I told you, I have storage 1, storage 2, network 1, network 2. Okay. The storage 1 is local to the hypervisor. Local to hypervisor means like you have hard disk in your laptop. Similarly, in the hypervisor box, we have a local hard disk. So it's a local to hypervisor. Storage 2 is not local. Okay. It's a SAN storage, which is coming over the network. So storage 2 is coming from India. This is one which is coming from India because it's over the network. So it can be situated anywhere else in the world, wherever you feel okay, we will get the bandwidth. So it's set up inside in India. Okay. Network 1, NIC card 1 is having a speed of 100 Mbps, and network 2, sorry, NIC card 2 is having a speed of 200 Mbps. So guys, now it's your turn to tell me that which storage and network card combination I will make over here to provide virtual machines for Australia people and for India people. As I told you, storage and network is known as a resources. You can make multiple resources as well. So which combination I have to choose for India and which one for Australia and why? Then you will understand this concept throughout. Come on guys, just give your input. I will throw it.
Australia, since it is
Is my
local,
sorry?
NIC 1 to Australia, since it is local, NIC
Uh,
2 to India, since it is overseas.
okay, so let me draw here. So you mean to say
Sure.
that for Australia, you are saying about NIC 1, right? NIC 1. And what about storage?
Yes, one. Storage one. Locals.
Storage 1. And for India, you are saying about NIC 2 and storage 2, correct?
Yeah.
This biggest thing.
Okay. Uh, any another input, guys? Anybody? No, Ibrahim, Buck, any other input?
I'm sorry.
Same. Yes.
What was the question? I missed it.
Okay. So you have confusion with the question?
Yeah, no, sorry. I was I had to check something. I wasn't paying attention there.
Okay. See, the question is that we do have people from Australia as well as from India. Okay. And my XenDesktop setup is in Australia. When I'm saying XenDesktop setup means my hypervisor is also in Australia itself. And hypervisor is having two storage and two network cards. One storage is local to the hypervisor. Local means like locally attached hard disk. And storage 2 is network storage, SAN storage, which is coming from India. Network card is 100 Mbps. Network card is 200 Mbps. As I told you that storage and network is a combination is known as a resource.
Right.
So which combination I have to choose for Australia people and which combination I have to choose for the India people, because I can make multiple resources. So this is what I asked the people. Clear now?
Yeah, so which is the one that has the 200 Mbps? The Australia one?
So this 200 Mbps to whom you are going to provide? To Australia people or to India people? Okay, guys, let me tell you here. So whatever the answer is given, I think it's given by Bhakta, I think. So whatever the answer is given over here, that is absolutely correct. For Australia people, I will make a combination of storage 1 and network card 1. For India people, storage 2 and network card 2. And reason behind is pretty simple. The storage 1 I'm choosing, why? Because it's a local to hypervisor. Local to hypervisor means it's in Australia itself. So obviously speed will be good for Australia people. The storage which is local to hypervisor means local to Australia. If I'm going to provide that storage to the Indian people, obviously everything is working over the WAN, wide area network, right? So distance makes a difference over there. So obviously speed will get slowed down. So that's why storage 1 I'm providing to the Australia people itself. Network card 1, 100 Mbps for them, it's fine, because loss of communication packets or loss of network packets will be less. But when it is coming over the seas for Indian people, obviously I have to choose a high speed network card, because there will be a network traffic or there will be a loss of packets as well. Okay, because everything is over the WAN, so not every signal reach to the receiver. So that's why there will be a distortion as well. So that's why we are choosing the network card 2. Now storage 2, why I'm choosing? Because storage 2 is actually coming from India itself, because it's a network storage. So obviously if it is coming from India, so for Indian people, the performance will be much better compared to the Australian people, right? So that's why I choose this combination for Indian people. This kind of designing we have to do, not on the initial level, guys, like you will join as a Citrix admin. So obviously you are not going to do all this stuff. But in future, this is how the infra is designed by the architects or by consultants. This is how we guys do. Okay, so we have to before proceeding any kind of stuff, we have to have all the ground level knowledge, from where what are the stuff are coming, what kind of audience we have, what kind of users we have, where they are located, all those information we should clear this part.
Yep.
Okay, so far no confusion. Whatever setup I did, everything I did inside the XenDesktop only. I didn't touch any another component, because license server, storefront, database, every component is installed inside the XenDesktop itself. So what is another component which is left behind from Citrix perspective initially? That is the master image. because now my site is ready. Okay, host connection, DB license connection is done. My site is ready right now. But before, understanding that part, first of all, we need to understand about the FMA architecture, which is multiple services on the XenDesktop, as I told earlier. Okay. So now let's see what are the services are available in XenDesktop, which we have to understand, because as I told you, blindly you are not supposed to do anything inside Citrix. So these are known as XD services. So let me note down here, guys, first, then I will explain. So there is Citrix broker service, Citrix host service, Citrix machine creation service, which is also known as MCS. A lot of people know about this word. Then Citrix machine identity service, then Citrix AD identity service, then Citrix default domain service, Citrix delegated admin service, Citrix monitor service, configuration service, Citrix configuration logging service, Citrix diagnostic service, Citrix environmental test service, environment test service. There are another service as well, but those are not something which we touch for troubleshooting, because that is something which is just used by Citrix product itself to work smoother. But these are the services which we have to be aware. So let me tell you what is the purpose behind each and every service, guys. Citrix broker service. This service is used to provide virtual machines or applications to the users, guys. Name itself is clear. Broker means brokering is happening with the help of this service only. If this service is down, then that particular XenDesktop server can't provide any resource to the users, not desktop, not application. Okay, every XenDesktop server or every XenApp server now have Citrix broker service. So this particular service is used to brokering the session. Then you have host service. This is the service which is used to connect with your hypervisor. So right now, if you remember, just 10 minutes prior, we were talking about host connection. So that host connection means hypervisor connection. That connection we were able to do with the help of this service only. If this service is down, you can't connect with your hypervisor. Okay. Machine creation service. This is the service, name itself pretty clear. Machine creation means whatever the virtual machines we are creating out of our master image, that is happening with the help of MCS only. If your MCS is down, then you can't create virtual machines. Simple. Okay. So whatever virtual machines we are able to create, that is happening with the help of MCS only. A lot of people say MCS is the architecture behind XenDesktop. No, guys. Be very precise with your terminology. MCS is a technology, not an architecture. There's a difference behind that. Architecture, whenever we say, it is something like, theoretical concept, flow chart kind of. Okay, how this communication, all those things are going on. But whenever we say technology, it means that is a coding part, how it works. So MCS itself is a coding part of Citrix XenDesktop, not new. It's coming since XenDesktop is developed. Okay, so based on MCS only, XenDesktop is able to create virtual machines. Then we have a machine identity service. Whatever virtual machines you will create, guys, obviously for those virtual machines, identities will also get created. When I'm saying identities, there are unique identity which is carried by each and every user, each and every machine, either it's physical or virtual. If I ask about you, every person is also having unique identities. Yeah, right? You have your unique passport number, you have your unique different IDs number. Similar goes to virtual machines also. So with virtual machine, there are a lot of unique identities. For example, UPN number, SPN number, service principal name. There is GUID, graphical user identifier. Okay, another one, there's a different UID as well, unique identifier. So there are so many unique identities are there. So who will create? Machine identity service will create them. And who will sync all those identities with the Active Directory? AD identity service. If your AD identity service is down, obviously your machines will not contact with your domain controller, because we are linked with our IDs, and if our IDs are not getting matched due to so and so reason, obviously we will not be get connected. This machine identity service till 5.6 version of XenDesktop, guys, this was a separate service altogether. But nowadays, if you will open services.msc console in your XenDesktop server, this service is not a different service altogether. This is indulged with your MCS. So now if you will open services.msc console, you will get only one service, that is MCS. But that doesn't mean that you don't have machine identity service. Identity service is there, but not a separate. You can't see it. It is indulged in the machine creation service itself. Okay. So AD identity service, as I told, the work is to share your identities with the Active Directory and to make you communicable from the domain controller. Then we have a default domain service. As I told right so far, that like we saw multi-domain environment. Generally, there is a multi-domain environment in production. Okay. So that multi-domain environment, how your XenDesktop server will come to know? With the help of default domain service itself. So whatever the communication is going on regards to the multi-domain environment, everything is maintained by DDS, default domain service only. Then delegated admin service, guys. As name suggests, delegated, it's really a delegated service, because if this service is down, you can't open your Citrix Studio console to manage the Citrix in XenDesktop infra. Okay, because whatever the information we are getting inside the studio, that information is coming from database server only, nowhere else. So if delegated admin service is down, we will not be able to connect with our database server, due to which XenDesktop Studio or Citrix Studio will not provide you any information. Okay. Monitor service. To monitor Citrix environment, guys, we required some, a tool where we can monitor the environment. How many users are connected? What are their sessions? Okay, what are the policies being applied? What are the process? How can we kill the session? There's plenty amount of stuff to monitor. Those monitoring part we can do from studio itself, but not up to the mark, because the studio is somewhere where we use for designing purpose, not for monitoring purpose. So what is something we do have for that? We have Citrix Director. Okay, the Citrix Director is a web-based tool which is getting installed by default the moment when we install XenDesktop, as I told you, and this director will give you the information. Okay, earlier till 5.6, guys, might be you guys heard, we had a product called as a edge site from Citrix to monitor the environment. No doubt, edge site was a very big product, was a very heavier kind of product from Citrix to monitor not only Citrix environment, guys, to monitor your endpoint machines also. But that is stopped. It's no more. The reason behind of its typical architecture and a very closed architecture, because the person who developed all this product, that was long back ago, the code sharing was not available. That's why troubleshooting was very, very typical. So Citrix stopped this product completely altogether. So what they did, whatever functionality they had in site, Director is also an old product, but not that much of capable. So now, yes, capability is there, because whenever any version come out from Citrix Xendesktop, they add new and new features from S site to the Director. So now I can say 90 to 95% features of your S site are available inside the Director itself. Pretty easy to use, not much to troubleshoot, because everything is maintained from the XenDesktop. If there's any issue, if suppose any information not coming in Director, means issue in the XenDesktop. So no expecting itself. That's what we use now.
So like,
Configuration service.
sorry, so the it's because like I think, I mean, I saw there's still some, because after Edge site got taken away, like there other companies that providing those services that are like, that the still Director hasn't matched up to Edge site?
No, no. Very, you will see in 7.19, Director is capable to do, plenty amount of stuff,
Okay.
which is somewhere I would say few stuff are like that, which are very new and innovative ideas, which were not available in S site also.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So Director is on somewhere another level right now compared to the another previous versions when we had a 5.6, like
Right.
6 to 7 years back.
Okay.
Okay, so there's another company, if you guys are aware, known as a EG Innovation. So that company is also providing a monitoring for Citrix, but that is on a different scale, because that company is providing monitoring, end to end. Means in one monitoring tool, you can monitor from your hypervisor till the end user activity. Means all the complete channel you can monitor with the help of that product, EG Innovation. But that's a third party product so far, but they are working very closely to indulge EG Innovation with the Citrix itself. Not sure how much time will it take, but yeah, that is something which is in progress. Okay, because in
Prince, I
Director
didn't
you
get
can't
it.
do
Company
comment.
name.
Sorry,
What is the product name? See?
product name I didn't remember. Yeah, one time
Okay,
I
okay.
like attended their webinar uh,
Oh,
uh, with the help of HP. So their company name is EG Innovation.
okay.
So they are providing end-to-end monitoring. Like, why I'm telling you all these things, guys, because if you are enrolled in some project, like earlier how I was enrolled as a consultant in HP. So they were asking me that, okay, do you have any information, maybe any third-party tool? Then I came to know about this EG innovation. Then I went there and I see all the information. Yes, it is very innovative. End-to-end monitoring, from hypervisor to Active Directory to database server, license server, XenDesktop, and then user activity, everything in one console, man. What else you required? But very, very heavier kind of stuff because so many functionality in one tool. So that's why. But yeah, you should be aware that okay, we do have this kind of setup. Then we do have, guys, configuration service. Name itself pretty clear, configuration. So whatever configuration you are able to do in your studio, like you are trying to connect your DB server, license server, what is this? This is the configuration, right? So that configuration we are able to do with the help of this config service. If your config service is down, you can't do any further communication with any server. Configuration logging service, guys. This is something which I can say, or I would say that a small CCTV kind of setup in your studio itself. Whatever activity you are doing, everything is getting logged there. Everything. Even you create a small, a particular user, or you change any, small properties of a user account or a machine account or anything in the studio, everything is getting logged, and that is something which we can fetch the report also. It helps a lot, guys. It helps a lot because nowadays, people are working in a different sense altogether. If you are aware nowadays, hacking activities and all. So a lot of time it happened. What people were doing that when they leave the company, and if they have any dispute with their managers or somewhere else, they think okay, I can do such kind of activities, but they forgot that we have this kind of setup also. If you think that whatever the logs are created for your activity, you can delete them, no boss. Because suppose if you delete it from studio itself, that is also get recorded that you deleted. Okay. So in that case, what you are doing is you are giving a double proof. First, you whatever the mistake you did intentionally or unintentionally, that is a different story. But you try to delete them also, so that is also get recorded where inside the database. And that's the reason, guys, Citrix people don't have access to the database much. Now you came to know why we required a separate database team, because all those things are maintained by the DB team. For that you require a DB knowledge. DB itself is a big portion. There's a plenty amount of stuff to do in the database. There's a coding inside the database. There's a scripting inside the database. So we required a separate DB team. Citrix admin not capable enough to do. Even an architect also is not capable enough to maintain all the activities of a database server, because database itself is a separate product, is a separate technology altogether.
Is that new? Like, I mean, I think before the logging used to be stored on the server itself, and now you're saying it goes written into the database.
No, every information is in database. Over the studio, you are getting information from the DB itself. Okay. So inside the studio, see, suppose, let's say you created one machine. Now activity will get created that Noor created this machine at so and so time. Then now this activity got stored inside the DB. From the DB only you are getting information inside the studio. The studio is just a console. It's not capable to store anything. Whatever it is showing to you, it is fetching from the DB itself. That's why I told this service need to be up and running. Then only I can fetch from DB. Okay. So suppose if you are trying to delete the information which is currently visible inside the studio, that is static information, but inside the DB still we have multiple copies of that. That's how XenDesktop designed the product. Okay, because it happened multiple times, guys, multiple times. Some unintentionally it happened from me as well. I was not aware what I was doing when I joined Citrix R&D itself long back ago. I was not aware what I'm doing. I thought, okay, this is generic. And the problem was regards to the host service. Due to so and so reason, I kept the host service down of my client one from Australia. And obviously, there was a huge impact. But yes, immediately my senior came to me and he investigated and we found, okay, this was done like that. And then we did a troubleshooting for that. So that's why in XenDesktop, you should be aware about services, guys. You should be very precise. You can't take for granted that, okay, I know this part. No, not at all. You don't know where the impact will come from, because when we are in a virtual environment, guys, just imagine that you might handle 5,000 users at a time, 10,000 users at a time. You know who is the biggest customer of Citrix? NASA.
Microsoft.
No, NASA. Biggest customer of the Citrix, guys. You would not be aware they are using 75,000 desktops at a time, at a single time. And for them, Citrix can't take even a single risk also. Citrix assigned a dedicated team for them, which is working day and night on the NASA center itself in US. Okay. In that team, they have support people, development people from different departments, consulting also, architect also. Everybody is there. If something very worst is going to be happen in 0.1% chance, then only they will come back to the Citrix LMS team, lifecycle management team. Okay, that's why for them they can't take even a single risk, because that kind of urgency they have. Okay, they can't even bear a single second downtime also. So they are the biggest customer of the Citrix. So that's how they works. So that's why in virtual environment can be huge, man. So you should be aware, you should be train yourself in that way. That's why I'm giving you example all the time with the production. Okay, diagnostic service, as I told, this is the service which we don't touch for the troubleshooting. It is being used by the Citrix itself to do the smooth kind of running stuff. Environmental test service, this is the service which we use, guys, to test any kind of stuff. Okay, we can test hypervisor connection, existing one. We can test your machines. We can test DB connection, license connection, any kind of connection you can test with the help of this service. I'm giving you one live example where you will understand. Test service, right? Because this mistake happened. As I told, hypervisor team will be a totally different team. You are here as a XenDesktop admin or whatever you say. Now,
Since you
here,
can use another color, it's better, I guess,
yeah, sure. No
compared to yellow color.
So here we do have XenDesktop's team. Here I do have a hypervisor team. And as I told you that we are connecting with our hypervisor in host connection. So the moment when I will make a host connection, obviously I will provide you add username and password. So whose username and password I will provide, which is having access to the hypervisor, right? So this is something which hypervisor team will tell you that, okay, this is the username and password which you can use to connect with us. Sometimes it happens that hypervisor team are not aware that if they will change this password at the backend, how much it can impact us. Okay, so it happened, guys, because generally all these tasks is been done by tier 1 guys from hypervisor team. They don't have much knowledge about the infrastructure. They have knowledge about hypervisor but not about infrastructure. So it happened so many times that they change the password abruptly without sharing with XenDesktop team. They might think that, okay, today I am changing, no problem, I will send an email tomorrow to all the team members that this got changed, no worries as such. But there is a problem, because the moment you will change the password, we are connecting with the hypervisor without any single second of downtime also. So every time we are checking, we are authenticating us. Now if password got changed, it got mismatched over here because the password on hypervisor got changed and we are using old password. It got mismatched, due to which this host connection will get. But how will you come to know that this is the issue? With the help of test service. So we have an option to test the host connection, which is done with the help of test service. And the moment you are doing that inside the host connection, you will see that there's an issue with the authentication and you got disconnected over there. This is how it happens, guys. Clear so far? Understanding about services, whatever we discussed. Any doubt?
I'm good.
Anybody? Once you will get the recording of this, guys, make sure you just go through this services part especially. Although all conceptual you have to go through, because whatever all these things I'm telling you, these are not documented anywhere. Okay, so all these things I'm explaining about the in-depth part of the Citrix product. So you need to be just make sure that you are in flow. Okay, so this is what we are doing initially from the XenDesktop server perspective. Whatever so far we are discussing, single machine means XenDesktop server only. Now, what is the next stuff we have to set up, guys? Next stuff which we have to set up, that is master image. So our XenDesktop server is ready over here. Ready. Now we have to set up our master image. As I told, master image can be, not can be, master image supposed to be virtual only. And whatever the prerequisites are there, like in our case, Windows 7 was there. So I set up one virtual machine. And here I created Windows 7. IP should be dynamic. Now here I will explain you why dynamic, why not static. As I told you guys that this master image is going to be copied in 200 virtual machines. If you are giving a static IP, then same IP will get copied to all the 200 virtual machines. It means there will be a IP conflict. And if IP conflict is going to be happen, then none of the machine will join to the domain. And if domain joining process is not done, then obviously user will not get any virtual machine. That's why IP is supposed to be dynamic, means it is supposed to get from the DHCP server only. Okay. Then here you are installing whatever application user is looking for in the same machine. Let's say Chrome, same example.
Can I get once again that dynamic? What is the reason? Because static is always better, not to communicate.
No, problem here is, see, just imagine 1.1.1. This is the IP you gave in your master image as a static IP. Okay. And initially, as I told you, how it works, master slave system, like how Xerox machine works. Whatever content you do have in your master image, everything will get copied to all 200 virtual machine.
Okay.
Now you can imagine you gave a static IP. What will happen? Same IP to every virtual machine. So IP conflict is there. If IP conflict is
Okay.
there, they will not join to the domain. If not joining to the domain, user will not get the VMs. Simple.
Yes.
Clear?
Not clear. Got it.
Yeah.
How
That's
is
why.
the so like beside the IP, then like how is, for example, like with Windows, they have like the GUID ID and stuff, like how is that a conflict
Uh,
avoided?
okay.
Like
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it.
or even
For
like the
that,
MAC address,
I'm telling you. For that, guys, might be you guys aware. Inside the Windows, we have a sysprep tool, system preparation tool. Okay. So before using this master image further to create virtual machines, we have to run this sys preparation tool. It is available in your C drive Windows system folders. So what this system preparation tool do? This system preparation change the GUID of your each and every virtual machine which you are creating from this master image. Okay, and then only it will join to the domain. Because guys, one thing you need to understand, whatever virtual machine or a physical machine you join to the Active Directory, none of them join there with their computer name. That whatever the computer name you provide, that computer name is just for human understanding. Computer doesn't understand the English language. Computer always works in a binary code format. So computer will add you to the domain with the GUID, with the UID. There are so many unique identifiers, as I told. So all the unique identifiers, it will convert them into the binary format, and then only it will add you inside the Active Directory. Okay, that's why system preparation tool we have to run before proceeding further. Or sometimes whenever you like when we will do the lab, you will come to know that this system preparation tool we have to set on a generalized option, and then only we proceed further and we do all these things. Clear, Noor?
Yep.
Okay, so this is done. Okay, fine. You provide dynamic IP, then you join to the domain as well. That's fine. Domain joining, that's fine. Remember this master image, as of now I'm giving hard disk size of 50 GB and 4 GB of RAM. Okay, 50 GB I'm giving, guys. So not fixed, totally depends on your usage, how much you are looking for. Just remember, some people take it for granted. It's not like that. It's totally depends on your usage. If you have more usage, take more. You have less usage, take less. Okay, but here also there is a concept of thin provisioning, guys. I will explain this part later, not right. Okay, you join to the domain, fine. Then after that you will install a software over here, as I told you, Citrix VDA, virtual delivery agent. The moment you will install this software, what it will do, the moment you will install this software, it will allow you to provide controller name, means your data, DDC names. So if you have multiple DDC also, no worries, you can provide multiple DDC name over there. Let's say I'm providing here DDC .lab.com. Suppose this is my one DDC. Now what will happen? This Citrix VDA comes with a service called as a Citrix Desktop service. This Citrix Desktop service will be available in your master image, because inside the master image only we are installing VDA, right? That's why it will be there. So the moment when you provide this name, guys, what it will do, Citrix VDA will push further to communicate with your DDC. XenDesktop is what? It's a DDC only, right? And this particular communication, guys, is known as registration. Registration. This is the key part of XenDesktop. 75% issues revolve around registration only. That's why this registration we will discuss in detail, okay, each and every stuff. Because if this registration concept is clear, you can say that your 75% of XenDesktop is clear now. But if your registration is not clear, then you will be stuck every time whenever you will get any kind of issues. Because this registration is nothing but a communication of your VDA to the XenDesktop server. Obviously, right now it's just a master image. Out of this master image, you are creating 200 virtual machines. So obviously, all those 200 virtual machines will communicate to your DDC itself. So it means they are supposed to be registered. And registered, as I told you, is nothing but a terminology given to the communication between virtual machine to the DDC, or you can say Citrix VDA to the DDC. Okay. And once this is done, how registration happens, guys? Right now, just forget about it, because this is something which I will explain in a separate class, because there's a huge detail about it. So once registration is done, how will you come to know? Inside the event log of your master image. Okay. Once registration is done, the next step which you are supposed to do is you have to shut down your master image and take a snapshot. We are supposed to take a snapshot of the master image whenever we do any kind of changes, so that if any wrong stuff happened, if any in worst case scenario, if your master image got corrupted due to your latest update, at least you have a previous working stuff where you can revert. That's why we always should carry a snapshot. Once you create a snapshot, guys, now we are ready further to create our virtual machines. This is the stuff which I explained to you over here. This is the stuff which we are supposed to do in our master image. Okay. So means whatever we discussed, based on that, let me ask you one question, guys. Let me think how much you got understanding so far. How many master image we can set up? Nobody
Only
asked this
one.
question so far. Only one. Okay. Anybody else?
As many as you want.
Okay. Any another input? Okay. Whosoever is saying one and whosoever is saying as many, can you just tell me what will be the deciding factor behind it? On what basis you are deciding that okay, there could be one, there could be many, what that there would be some measuring factor, right?
No, one image only we will give to all the users. Like it should be the one. Then only we can share the image with all the we can share with everyone.
Okay.
That
And
is
Noor, how you are saying multiple?
Because it can, like you can assign different master images and have different computers, or like you receive, these applications from this master image, and other computers can receive
Correct.
different things from a different master.
Correct. So whatever the Noor said, that is absolutely correct. That is one deciding factor. Okay. There is another deciding factor, guys. Pretty simple. See, right now I gave you one example that you have a startup company where you have 200 employees. Right now, just divide that scenario. Automatically, you will get answer. I said 200 employees, all are looking for Windows 7 VM. That could be a scenario where 100 is looking for Windows 7, 50 people are looking for Windows 8, 50 people are looking for Windows 10. Now, in one master image, you can't have multiple operating systems. Snapshots are there to make a changes on an application layer, but snapshot doesn't mean that you can change operating system itself, not at all. Okay. So here 100 people are looking for Windows 7, 100 people or 50 are looking for Windows 8 due to so and so purpose, maybe different department people. Some are from development, some are from financial, different. Now what I will do here, I have to create 3 different master image, guys. One for Windows 7, one for Windows 8, one for Windows 10. And always in a production environment, we maintain multiple copies of your master image in different geographical location. Okay, because master image is a delegated part. If due to so and so reason, if this is something which is got corrupted on your hypervisor, game is over, because existing virtual machines, whatever you created out of the master image, maybe 200, maybe 300, or maybe in thousands. In future, if any update is required, you can't do any update into the existing virtual machines. To do any kind of change, you require a master image, existing master image, and if that is got deleted, you can't do. So that's why we always maintain multiple copies on a different geographical location, or maybe in same location but different folders or areas somewhere. But yes, these are the deciding factors, like different users, different users have different application requirement. As Noor said, might be there are few applications which work only on Windows 10, there are few applications which work only on Windows 7. So how can I install them on Windows 7? That's why master image can be multiple. Clear? Any doubt, guys, here on the master image?
Okay.
Okay, so prior to this, I explained you what we have to do in our Xendesktop server. On this particular page, I explained to you here how we have to set up our master image. What would be the outlines? What are the things we have to set up? How it works? Okay. Now the next page will explain you about once our Xendesktop server is ready here, and once my master image is ready over here. Now I have to create virtual machines out of this. So what I will do, I will approach to my Xendesktop server. I will open studio over here. As I told, everything will be done from the studio. And from the studio, I have to create multiple virtual machines. And that concept is known as catalog. So multiple virtual machines are known as a catalog. You could have multiple catalogs in your Xendesktop. Totally depends how many machines you are looking for, what kind of policies you are implementing, how you want to divide them. There are so many concepts which you will learn in the practical part. But group of virtual machines is known as a catalog in Xendesktop. In catalog also we have multiple classification, guys. The major classification are nowadays pooled random, dedicated VMs, and streamed VMs. When I'm saying streamed VMs, guys, this is something where we integrate with provisioning services, Citrix PVS software. So just forget about right now. Main thing is this part. Pooled random. Name itself pretty clear. Random machines to the users. Let's say you are 3 people right now. I'm the admin at the backend. I'm providing you VMs. Today you got VM1, VM2, VM3 like that. Tomorrow there is no possibility of same VM at all. Might be new users are coming. Anybody can get any kind of VM because the moment when you log off from your system, your data will get flushed out. No data will not get saved. Okay. And that's why every time whenever you will log in, you will get a fresh virtual machine. Okay. That is known as a pooled random virtual machines. So what kind of users where we do provide, like help desk people, we know okay what kind of work they are doing. They have to come log in, they will open a portal in the browser and they will do so and so stuff, log out, go. Whatever data they want to carry, they might carry on their cloud, or maybe on the Google Drives, or maybe any another, maybe in external USB, external hard disk. Fine, okay, but they can't save the data in the virtual machine because it's a pool random. Then dedicated virtual machine. Dedicated virtual machine is pretty simple, like your personal desktop. Whatever changes you are doing, everything is getting saved, and Even administrator from the backend can't perform any kind of update, guys. This is something you have to remember. If I'm providing you a dedicated VMs, so obviously I dedicated like a personal laptop. Today you got VM1, VM2, VM3. Tomorrow also same VM you got. Definitely, your data will be there. But if you ask me that, Prince, can you update my Google Chrome? I would have to say no. Why? Because this is the dedicated VMs, means personal. You have to do the changes by your own. We are not supposed to do. Simple. Okay, and even we would not have access. If we will do deliberately with the help of coding or somewhere, that's a different part. But as such, in a generic way, we are not supposed to do. That's how dedicated machine works. So that's why dedicated VMs we provide to the users who require them, like a development persons, development team, because development team are capable enough to update their system anytime whenever they require. Let's say they are doing some coding and they found, yeah, okay, yeah, this Python version, this one is not working, they have to update. So for small changes, they will not come to the administrator and call or raise a ticket, and then they have to wait for 3 days. Not at all. They can't wait for that kind of movement for every stuff. That's why we provide them dedicated. You do whatever you want, you update whatever stuff you are looking for. So this classification and the decision of catalog totally depend on your users category. What kind of users you do have, based on that, it depends. Okay, so all those things, and forget about the stream right now. This part we will discuss when we will see the PVS, provisioning services. Clear, guys? Catalog classification so far? Any doubt? Anybody? Okay, it means no doubt. So
Sorry. So I mean, I understand this concept, but
okay.
but for example, based on
Mhm,
which one you choose, say
mhm.
like be it Windows, does the licensing differ? Like,
No,
okay,
not at all. Licensing, forget about the licensing right now, because licensing not depends on all these factors.
uh,
Licensing factors are totally different.
like for example, or application license, let's say Microsoft Office, like would that matter?
No,
Like,
no. That part is that's what I'm saying. Catalog classification, doesn't there's no correlation with the license here. So license part is different. This is different. So
got
either it's pool random or dedicated or stream. Licensing is not coming into the picture. It's totally different story. Okay.
Yep.
So licensing part I will explain you once we'll start the licensing. So once we have a catalog, as I told you, you can create multiple. Let's say for 200 virtual machines, you are creating two catalogs, 100 in one, 100 in one. You can do like that. But what are the deciding factor? That you will come to know later in practical part. Then after this catalog, what is the next step, guys? Next step is we have to create one delivery group. Delivery group means, delivery group says that user assignment and power management. Because guys, in catalog, you are just creating virtual machines. But to whom you are providing, who are your targeting users? Where you will decide? You will decide inside your delivery group. Plus power management. Because all the machines are not supposed to do, all the machines are not supposed to up and running all the time. So all this power management we will do in your delivery group. So there are different kind of power management altogether, that okay, in peak hours how many machines should be up and running all the time, in off peak hours how many machines should be running all the time. So all these things, totally differ in different reasons, in different catalog. Everything is different over there. Okay. So all these things we decide in your delivery group. So this is the chart, guys. First we set up a XenDesktop server, then we set up a master image, then we came back, we came to the catalog, and then after catalog creation, then we created a delivery group. That is done. Now the next and the last part is that we assigned them, but we didn't deliver to the user, right? Assignment is different, delivery is different. So suppose I am assigning something for you. So that is something in my database. But did I deliver, did I courier, did I provide that part to you? Not so far. So that's what storefront come into the picture. And with the storefront here, a lot of things comes, access gateway, VPN, NetScaler, because this is the part where we are delivering actual stuff to the users itself. Okay. So here inside the storefront, which was earlier known as a web interface server, here we create a website. Earlier it was known as a website when we used to say web interface server. Now we used to say storefront. So we do have here store. Okay. So we create a store, and with the help of store, whatever I assigned for users, whatever the source is, it could be application, desktop, whatever stuff, users would be able to see them on a website and they can launch them. That's how it works. And this is a complete channel. And there's a one more component in this channel called as a Citrix receiver. This Citrix receiver will be available on the user endpoint. Why we say that Citrix is kind of a company who is providing you the facility to launch your virtual machine or application from any device, from anywhere, mobility, due to this Citrix receiver. This Citrix receiver, guys, is available for any kind of device: Android, iOS, Mac OS, Google Chrome, Chrome OS, your Windows, Linux, any kind of endpoint you take, receiver will be there. That's a benefit, that you can launch your virtual machines from your mobile, from your iPad, or from any device, because receiver you have to download, and that's it, you will be connected. So how receiver works, all those things we'll discuss in detail later on, but this is the map chart, guys. This is the complete setup: hypervisor, AD, DB, all those stuff, then XenDesktop server, then master image, then we came to the XenDesktop server back, open studio, set up a catalog, then delivery group, then storefront, and then on the user endpoint, user will launch them with the help of receiver. This is the complete roadmap which we have to follow in our further classes for XenDesktop.
Can you just give me this after delivery group? What exactly?
After delivery group, see, first of all, you have to understand what we are doing in delivery group. In delivery group, we just did assignment. Okay. If I give you a simple example in a layman language, suppose you ordered for a bike or for a car to a particular dealer. Okay. Now your dealer requested to the particular company, and they have a manufacturing plant. That manufacturing plant comes under the catalog where they are manufacturing all the bikes and every stuff. Then they are coming to the assignment part. Okay, because manufacturing plant or the company is getting requests from thousands of the dealers. One dealer is requesting for 100 bikes, another one for so and so, like that. So now your company is deciding that, okay, a dealer who is from this particular state, we have to send them 100 bikes. For this dealer, we have to send 50 bikes. This dealer requested earlier, this dealer requested after that. Accordingly, I have to make a sequence. So what I am doing here, I am doing the assignment in my database, that to whom I have to send, how I have to send, all those things. That is a part of delivery group. Here I am doing the assignment. To which user, how many virtual machines I am providing, or to which user, which virtual machine I am providing. But did I provide it so far? No. I did assignment in my database. User is not aware at all. Now, what is required? Transportation. I require a transportation here who can deliver those bikes or vehicle to actual dealer. In this case, transportation is done by the StoreFront server, because with the help of StoreFront only, we are able to create a website or store, whatever you say, and with the help of those website, user will be able to launch them. Clear this part now? So StoreFront, you can say, is doing the work of transportation over here. Whatever resources is being assigned at the back end, controller DDC will send those information to the StoreFront that, hey boss, these are the resources which are assigned for, let's say, Bhakt. And now your task is to display in the screen of user that, boss, these are the resources, click any of them and it will get launched. This is the task of StoreFront. Clear?
Yeah.
Any doubt? Because if whatever we discussed today, guys, it's very important. You have to go through this, please. Okay, and then in the next class, automatically you will get confidence automatically. And the moment when we'll start practical, you will say, hey, we know this part because we studied in our theory part. Because on this roadmap only we have to work further. Okay. Okay, guys. So I'm done for today. Now we'll connect in our next class. I think we discussed plenty amount of stuff for today. So just go through them, take confidence, and then we'll connect in the next class further onwards. Okay.
Sounds
So yeah, so our next class will be on Monday, Indian timing, morning.
Yep, Sunday evening.
Yes, correct.
Morning 6 Monday.
Yeah, Monday morning, 6 a.m. same time, like whatever the timing today we connected. Okay, guys.
It will be the theory part will be there, or any installation we will going to start on Monday.
On Monday, there's a small theory part, but along with that, installation will also get started because I have to explain the licensing part, which is pending so far. Okay, but not much, and after that, we'll start the installation in my lab. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, guys. We'll connect with you on Monday. Bye bye.
Bye.
Right, thanks. Bye.
Happy weekend, guys. Bye bye.
Bye. Happy.